have joined Space Alliance as a new captain in training and have to work with my crew to solve the mysteries of an ancient relic found on the Great Planet, but the last captains didn't take good care of the ship, so here I am. CPU, my lovely computer helper, shows me around the ship, showing me a lot of the work that has to be done and also a lot of the neglect that I have to clean up. So the first thing I do after telling CPU they did a good job and I really like the ship, even though, you know, my room is clean at least, I decided to check my email where Space Alliance told me welcome and they hope I do a good job and improve considering the last captains didn't. And then I got right to work fixing up my ship, at least my ship's quarters, kind of cleaning it up. It was really dirty. Then I met with my second in command, Kata, and also the chief science officer, and then began just meeting a lot of people around the ship, like Fiji, who is a crew member. I spoke to our education android, chief medical officer Francis. I also spoke to the junior chief medical officer, which I found out is a robot. I spoke to Sprout, which job was a child, which is kind of funny. I also spoke to the crew member who takes care of a family on board, Shinji, who is a student. I met another child named Kendall, who asked me a lot of weird questions. I met Chip, our head chef, who I low-key was going to date, but he's married to the second in command, Lauren, Stuart, our lead engineer. Lot of different people I met, and Stuart doesn't seem to like me very much, but I very much am going to be friends with Stuart, and also Pilot, who is our navigation officer. The whole day was basically spent meeting people, and on day 2 is when I started to get to work. I decided on day 2 to start the day right away, but I was stopped by Lynn, our junior botanist, who basically showed me how to help cultivate different plants to help our crew's morale, 1, and then 2, also help us have different varieties of food on board. She is the primary person who takes care of that, but I help with new plant life and things so she can keep a steady flow. Then I met with second in command, again, Kata, and got a blaster and a shovel and decided to head down to the Great Planet where I met Edward, my chief mechanic, and he kind of showed me how to use my little ship in the shuttle bay, and then I went right down to the Gray Planet. As I landed on the Gray Planet for the first time, I noticed this giant relic thing, which is what we have been investigating, or Space Alliance has been investigating, with no movement forward. A lot of the captains who came here just felt like this was beneath them, but I'm a captain in training, so I'm going to take this very seriously. So I decided to go investigate it and look at it for a bit. Definitely there are pieces missing to it. I tried to start it up and it kind of whirred up, and then this really interesting kind of text popped up. Very specific looking text. I ended up finding a little cave to the left, which I went in, and whoa! I found a literal alien child in here who was sleeping. CPU said they were really good at like meeting new beings. So I was like, hey, you take over. You can talk with the first contact. CPU ends up just terrifying this poor little alien, and it runs behind a thing to hide. But don't worry, CPU started barking at it and it started coming out and laughing. So we end up finding out that this little alien's name is Soot, and Soot is by themselves for some reason. They look like they've been in this cave for a long time. They're all covered in dirt, and we're not sure why this little alien is alone, but some of the words that Soot uses is very similar to the text of the relic, so they're clearly connected somehow, but I don't know how. I decided to help Soot because he was very, very hungry, and I don't know how long he's been in here trying to eat. There's like nothing on this Great Planet. It's like desolate. So I went to talk to my chief space officer or science officer and was like, hey, what do you think he would eat? And she says, we're going to have to get a lot of different things because we don't really know what he eats. So I decided to start that on day 2. And from day 2 on to quite a few days was just me gathering resources and different foods. On day 3 through, I don't know, I think 11 almost, I just gathered a lot of foods and a lot of resources to help Soot eat. Also exploring the planet and seeing what else I could find on the planet. I also went to Chip to ask Chip for some food rations because we didn't know if he'd eat that either. So my chef gave me some food rations, which I had to pay for. I was like, I'm the captain. Why am I paying for these? But I got some food rations. Eventually, by day 11, I did end up getting back to the cave with all of the different kinds of foods like corns and beans and things. And I realized that there were tally marks on the ground, kind of looks like our ship orbiting the Great Planet. So I think Soot was watching us orbit it. And then there was a doodle of the relic. So clearly Soot is related to it in some way and has been here quite a while. So I decided to give Soot all the food, which he smelled immediately. He was very hungry. And I gave him the food. In return, Soot was very, very grateful, and CPU was very happy that we finally were able to make some headway. First of all, some progress and got some information about this place, but also that we were able to help Soot. A lot of my crew members were really happy. I wanted to help Soot, so he immediately perked up after we gave him the food, and then he wanted my attention. And he gave me the first piece of the relic, which is very interesting. He just had it with him. It was a little purple heart, and he just gave it to me. I don't know where he had that, but he gave it to me, which was really cool. I then invited him to stay with me and my crew on the ship because I was like, hey, he's a cute little alien. Plus, I wasn't going to leave this baby by himself. There's nothing on this planet. At this point, I had gone through the whole planet. There's nothing else except him and this relic. So I was like, hey, I think you need to join us. And he had a heart above his head. He was very excited. We weren't sure where he'd stay, but he just literally he just teleported to the ship and just made himself at home. So he joined our crew. We had a new crew member, and it was awesome. I decided to go immediately after Soot was up there, put the piece into the relic while I was still on the gray planet, and it fit perfectly. It also sounded like it was starting up more than the first time I tried to start it up. So we definitely needed the rest of the pieces, but the most interesting part about adding a new piece is a star map was shown in the middle when the new piece got added, and coordinates were literally shot to any nearby ships, which was just our ship. We were the only one orbiting, and coordinates were sent to nearby vessels. So CPU got the coordinates, was a little shook up, which I would be too, and then we decided that we need to have a senior officers meeting. But first, before I went to that, I was going to make sure Soot was okay. Soot lives in a playhouse on the recreation floor, which is very cute, and Soot really seems to enjoy it. So then I went to the chief officers, or senior officers meeting. It went okay. Some people were really excited. Pilot was excited. Kato was excited. Stuart was a bit hesitant and was like, what is this? Where are we going to go? But that's our mission. Like, our mission and the purpose, is to move forward and find out more. I decided as captain, we must go. I made the official decision. And so we had new planet coordinates, and I started prepping fuel and things like that so we could go. And that is pretty much the end of day 11. Quite exciting. There was also a really cute cutscene with Soot, who was just really happy to be here and probably really happy not to be alone anymore. The kids interact with Soot a lot because this is right in front of their school, and they also play on this playground. So Soot had a really good night's sleep, which I was really happy about, and I love Soot. We're best friends on my ship. On day 12, I woke up and got an email from Space Alliance basically thanking me for finally making some mission progress, and that CPU keeps informing them and keeping them updated. Over the next few days up to day 15, I basically was able to make enough fuel. Just took a couple days, so we kind of skipped that because when there's stuff that's just mundane, we're going to skip it. Headed down to the engine room and decided to load up the fuel. We needed 10 fuel to get to the next planet and decided we'd be on our way. I headed to the star map after making sure CPU was ready to go. CPU also said the couple days it would take to get there, we'd be doing nothing because there's no planets to land on, so just make sure you're ready for those couple days being on the ship in hyperspeed. And I was like, I'm ready to go. And so I got to the star map and clicked on our brand new location. And I was very excited to go to a new location because at this point I'd never seen the new location from demos in previous times. I had seen all this stuff before, so this was the first time. Pilot says we're ready to go. CPU does a countdown, and we warped, and it was so cool. Literally, I was so excited to be moving forward with my crew. I just felt like a real captain in this moment, like exploring the stars. And my whole crew seemed pretty excited, except for Stuart. Bit hesitant, but it was really nice to finally see the ship moving. Day 16, I woke up planning to do pretty much nothing, honestly. I thought maybe I'd check in with some crew members since there wasn't much to do and we're in hyperspace right now, or warp space. But it turns out that one of the crew members had something to share with me. Francis, the chief medical officer, basically said there are different little amoebas essentially and stuff on the ship, and I had to go and detect them and catch them because they could be viruses, all kinds of different microbes and things like that. So I began my process of spending the entire day of day 16 catching these microbes all over the ship, and you can also sell them and do different things with them. So I was learning about microbes for that entire day, and this is one of the cute little ones I caught. They're kind of cute looking, honestly, even though they're little germs. By day 18, we arrived, and so CPU said good morning and that we were there, and I decided to immediately head right down to the new planet which was very colorful compared to the gray planet, which I had spent so much time on. Very desolate place, where this is very colorful. It's very water themed, very aquatic themed. But I did notice a poor person just laying on the ground, looking real sick. So that alarmed me, and I immediately ran over to them because something is not right on this planet. So I ran over to see the guard, accidentally shot him because I literally can't not shoot that gun for some reason. But he was fine. It just said he's really sick, and that he wanted to lay down a bit longer, like he did not want to be bothered. So I decided to do some more investigating and exploring. I couldn't get into any buildings, but I saw a whole king and a princess with some guards, and they all just said they feel terrible. King Tide told me that they have basically land sickness. They've been up on land too long and they're feeling super sick. I told them what I was looking for a relic. They said they may have something like that, but they really needed some help. So I asked Francis, my medical officer, what can we do about this? Francis said we need things like ginger. You need to make some medications using minerals. And so I got right to work getting what I needed to make the medicine machine and start growing the right crops. That took us all the way to day 24, just a lot of gathering things. Not anything too interesting happened other than me just vibing and gathering stuff. By the time we got to day 24, I was visited by Fiji, who told me about basically keeping Xenos. She has a little Xeno puff, and I could keep those as well. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to do that by day 50, but at least I knew that is a possibility, and I did work towards that after day 50. But I was trying to heal this entire planet right now, so I just kept working hard. By this time, I actually ended up streaming this entire next section of days, so you can actually go and check that out on this channel because I live streamed it. I think it was day 27 through to day maybe 30 something. I basically just collected stuff and met a brand new character that when my store closes on the ship, this robot traveling sales bot comes by and has all these really interesting, unique items like engagement rings and Xeno eggs, which Fiji told me about that I can hatch, and that was really, really neat. I ended up also reaching the end of the month, so the end of the quarter, and I got a captain's review, and I got upgraded to a novice captain level, which was really cool. I also got some really nice stats to see how I'm doing with my crew, all the improvements on the ship, also microbe research, stuff like that. So I definitely have a lot to improve on at this point, but it was really nice to get those stats at the end of the month. And now I am a novice captain, not a trainee. I also got an email from Space Alliance congratulating me about this, and they gave me a little bonus, which was really nice. I also got an email from Piper, who told me about Friendship Day on the ship, which was really cool. So by this time, the stream ended, and I literally jumped right back in and continued to collect resources, especially because I really wanted to see Friendship Day. Like, I wanted to see that day coming up. So I just continued to collect what I needed, continued growing ginger for the medication to help with the land sickness. And by the time we got to quarter 2, day 14, it was Friendship Day. CPU called me and said, hey, don't forget it's Friendship Day. So I basically did nothing. I just kind of watered my crops, just chilled, hung out, continued to make medications, and then took the stairwell down to the recreation area where Friendship Day was happening. And this place transformed. Like, this place looked so beautiful. There was a lot of things going on at first for my eyes. So first thing I did was go to the kissing booth, and I gave a little kiss to one of my favorite little robots, who apparently Pilot said blows his mind. I was like, Pilot, whoa, do you have a crush? Then I kept speaking to a few other people and just learning more about how this works. I went to our shop. Robert, our general store manager, had a shop where you could buy these really cool things, but I didn't have too much money at this time. So, I think I ended up getting a couple pots, plant pots. And then I went to Edward, where you can actually buy these different cards and different levels of cards, and then put them in the boxes where people's faces and names are. So Soot got one of the most expensive cards I could buy, and then I continued to put them into different people's boxes, and then it ups your friendship level exponentially because this is a holiday. So then they all start opening their stuff. I didn't. I thought maybe I was a loser and I got no cards, because I'm not gonna lie, I did not spend a lot of time talking to everybody at this point in the game. Gifts are expensive and I didn't have them, but everyone seemed to be getting multiple cards, so at least the crew seems to be having some good morale, which as a captain I'm very concerned about. I am. And it was very cute to watch them all talk about it. So then Piper said, oh, everyone's opened theirs, now you gotta open yours as the captain. I opened it, and hey, I got 2 cards. You know, I may not be super popular, but 2 people love me on this ship, which was cool. So that was Friendship Day. We now are going to fast forward a little bit after, of course, me putting my cute little Friendship Day stuff in my potted plant, as you can see. I didn't even take that dirty picture down, but I should have. I continued to work on making medication. Some of my crops were done, which means I had more ginger, which was awesome. And by this point, day 18, I had everything I needed and went back to King Tide to help give them the medication. They all got it and they felt way, way better. They said the medication even tasted good, which I was really thankful for, that Francis got me some medication they actually liked. And King Tide gave me this relic piece, which is, of course, the one we were looking for, that they had. They didn't know what it was for, and they were a bit curious, but they said, here you go, and you're always welcome. Then the princess had something to say and basically said she wanted to come with us and that she wants to see what this piece is for and travel the galaxy. So we decided to get the fancy quarters upgraded and fixed. I went to Edward immediately to get that going. And I'm not gonna lie, I just slept for the next couple days. I have worked hard. I have been making medication for a month almost. I'm a loser on my ship. I only got 2 friendship cards. Like, you know, it's been a minute. I slept until basically I got the email that it was done 3 days. I slept for 3 days straight, okay? And then I came back, got the princess, said your quarters are ready, and she had her guards bring your stuff up. So we have a new crew member. I then loaded up the engines. I talked to Stuart and gave him a little tea because that's my bestie. And then got on my chair and looked at my star map to go back to the Great Planet so we could put the next piece in. I was feeling very proud of myself at this point and my crew. We made it really far. We found 2 relic pieces. We helped an entire planet and civilization. I did sleep until I got to the Great Planet, where actually Sprout told me that there are new places on the planet to go to. So they're harder though, so I kind of was going to do that later. I wanted to get the piece in first. So this is day 50. I went right up to the relic piece and put it in and was really excited at this point because I knew that I had to be going to another planet, getting more coordinates and helping more people. And all the planets are different, obviously, from each other. So we threw the piece in, it worked, and we got more coordinates. And CPU got them and was like, hey, we know what to do. And as that happened, I started walking back to my ship, feeling pretty excited about what was to come, knowing I had a lot more planets to go through and that I definitely need to talk to my crew some more and become better friends with them. I'm happy to say at this point of my recording this, I am 40 hours into this game and I am almost completely done the game. I have 1 more piece to get. I'm on the last planet. It's very cool. You meet a lot of cool crewmates. You meet a lot of cool characters. And I was feeling really proud of myself at this point. Thank you so much for watching this quick video. Sorry that it wasn't longer or more detailed. I definitely wanted to get it out as soon as possible, but these videos are really long and hard to make. I absolutely love this game. Feel free to check it out. All links are in the description. Thank you.